guys, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel. So today I have my January wrap up for you guys. I didn't end up filming a December wrap up because it didn't go in where I wanted with the videos. I had a lot of end of the year videos that I wanted to do, so sorry. But I also read a lot of books, so I just didn't want to film. But in January I read 10 books, which came to 3,831 pages, but that does not include the fact that I read a lot of Daisy Jones and the Six on audio. I read like a little less than 300 pages of this as well, so take that number with a grain of salt. Let's just get into what I read. So the first book that I read in 2020 was Starsight by Brennan Sanderson. This is book 2 in the Skyward series, and I loved this so much. I definitely think that Skyward was better than Starsight, but that's just me. If you guys do not know, Skyward follows our main character Spencer, who wants to join this flight school and become a pilot, but because of something that happened and that led to her father being known as a coward, it is extremely hard for her to try to get into this flight school. So that's sort of it. And this, it's not mixed media, but there are a lot of, not really in this one, but in the other one, in Skyward, there was a lot of like pictures of the different ships and stuff. I think it's at the end of this one that there's some. But yeah, so they'll have stuff like this, which is kind of cool, and I don't know, I just love this series. I did, though, enjoy how we got to see the other side of the conflict that was occurring and get to see more of other species and other beings that were in this world. I did end up giving this 4 stars just because I said I think Skyward was a little bit better, but I still think this was a great sequel and I'm excited for the next one, though I don't want to wait as long because it's coming out in like 2022 or no 2021, but this came out at the end of 2019, so like it's a long time. The next book that I read in January was Rogue by Any Other Name by Sarah MacLean. This was my first full-length Sarah MacLean novel, and this we're following our main character Penelope, who after a broken engagement and years of not being able to find a husband, she's sort of seen as like a spinster. She's old to not be married, but after her father acquires this land that used to be one of her childhood friends, who is now like a recluse and a rogue, he comes back into her life. I don't really know. It's a romance. I feel like you can tell where it's going. But anyways, I really enjoyed this. There was just like, the main dude was just a dick a lot. And like for no reason, like just being like, oh, I don't want her to get too close to me, so I'm gonna be a dick, even though I don't feel that way. I actually really like her. Stuff like that just pisses me off. But I did end up giving it a 3.5 because at the end it really just came around, and I loved the dynamic between the two, even with him being annoying like that. So the next book that I read I don't have physically because I already returned it to the library because it was a huge 2019 release, so I wanted other people to get to read it too. And that is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, book 3 and the finale of the Folk of the Air series. And guys, I know this has been getting mixed reviews, but I loved this book. So if you guys don't know, the Cruel Prince series follows our main character Jude, who when she was a child was abducted by her sister's father, her half-sister's father, and brought into the world of the Fae, and she is brought up and wants to be like a warrior or something. It's been a while since I read the first book, but Queen of Nothing was so good, so suspenseful, so intense, and yeah, I can't really say that much about it without spoiling it, so I won't, but I loved it, gave it 4.5 stars. That's all I'm gonna say. I read The Binding by Bridget Collins. This was for Cody's pick for her book club for January, and I really enjoyed reading it and getting to talk to everyone in the Discord. This is a story about our main character, Emmett, who grew up working in the fields of his family's farm, but then a strange letter arrives summoning him to be an apprentice to this binder, where a binder is someone who like binds people into books. I don't want to tell you guys too much about it because it's really not talked about until far into the book. But yeah. So he's sort of like, I don't know what this is. I've been told books are really bad, and that's all I know. And so the beginning of this is really, really slow. Lyrical and beautiful, but slow. But the second section and the end just really picked it up and really pulled it together, and I really liked it. So I ended up giving this a 3.5 stars. The next book I read was The Main Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. This is a series of, I think, 11 short stories that follow our main character, Magnus Bane, who we've gotten to know in The Mortal Instruments and The Infernal Devices, and he's one of my favorite characters. So I just love this book. Okay, I know a lot of people don't really understand why this is important, but and yes, I wanted more backstory about like why Magnus is who he is, what is his family like, stuff like that. We don't really get that. We get a small bit of it, but not as much as I'd like. But I just love Magnus, and his humor and the sarcasm is just so good. And then the last few stories we're following the romance of you know who. I'm not gonna say, I don't think that's a spoiler because I feel like everyone knows, but I'm just gonna not say it, but you know, and I loved it. So I did end up giving this a 4-star because I think it's just because I'm trash for that relationship and for Magnus in general. So yeah, I love them. Next, I read Sleeping Giants by Sylvan Eval, and this was like a brain fucker. Like, this was insane. So I went into this thinking this was just, you know, your average normal sci-fi. Oh no, it says on it, on here, oh, from NPR, Masterful, a thriller through and through. Someone else calls it like a sci-fi oh yeah, here it is. A sci-fi political thriller and apocalyptic fiction. That's really what it is, and it was insane. So this had me like screaming and like throwing the book and a lot of other things. But basically this follows our main character Rose, who one day when she was a little kid, was riding her new bike down the street in South Dakota, and she falls through the earth and ends up in a metal hand. Now 17 years later, the mystery behind this hand is still unknown, but now Rose is Dr. Rose Franklin, a famous physicist. So now she's going to lead the top secret team to figure out what is going on with this hand. And this was just insane. I literally love this so much that I went out right away and got Waking Gods from my library because I couldn't find it at my used bookstore. I looked, but this was just so good. I ended up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. Go read it. I have heard that the last 2 books in this trilogy are a letdown compared to this, so I'm nervous, but I have to know what happens. So the next book is my Guilty Pleasure series, and that is I read book 4 in the Beautiful Bastard series, which is Beautiful Player. Guys, it's just good, okay? I think it's book 4. It might be book 3. It was just so good. I love these characters so much. And it's just like, it's so out there and like not vanilla relationships. So it's just crazy. And yeah, I really enjoy it. I don't tend to rate these books because they're just like smut. Like, there's not really a substance. But like, if I was gonna do it like based on enjoyment, I guess a 4, but like, I know they're not like the best written books and they're not like the best books, but they're just so addictive and fun to read. Next, I reread A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and this was an experience. I tabbed a lot, but this, I'm just gonna tell you guys what this is about first. So this is about our main character, 19-year-old Farah, who kills a wolf in the forest, and the wolf turns out to be a fae. So one day, this guy, Tamlin, this high fae, comes up and is like, you killed a fae, you gotta come with me. And that's how the story starts. And it's just so good. I don't know what it is about this book and Sarah J. Maas's writing, but it's so good. It's literally just, it's not like any other book. Like, I don't know. And this is technically new adult, but they sort it as like a young adult in my library, but like if I had 13 or 14-year-olds pick this up, I'd be like, oh no. So yeah, but this is really good. And I gave it 5 stars on reread. Originally gave it 4.5 stars, but this time, since like I knew what was going on and I just like loved everyone, I had to give it a 5-star. Very excited to move on to Akamath because I've only read like the first 20% on an ebook for my library before I had to return it, and now I own my own physical copy so I can read it, and I'm so excited. Next, I read Tweet Cute by Emma Lord, and this is such a cute contemporary. So this is following our main characters Pepper and Jack, and Pepper and Jack go to the same like private high school thing, but they're not really like friends. Like, they know each other, but they're not like friends. But when Pepper is tasked to tweet some tweets for her mom's, or for her family's company, stuff happens. And I don't really know how much to say, but that's what the Tweet Cute means. Like, there's Twitter stuff going on. And this was just so cute and cheesy and literally made me like die laughing. Like, I laughed so much, and it's just so good, and I gave this 5 stars. I loved it. It was so good. Definitely gonna be one of my favorite contemporaries that I read in 2020. So definitely check this out if you haven't. This is a January 2020 release. So super happy that I was able to get it through my library. And lastly, another 2020 release, we have Come Tumbling Down by Seanan McGuire. So this is the 5th book in the Wayward Children series, which starts with Every Hearted Doorway, which follows these children who have come back from portal worlds and are like different from when they left. So their parents are like, I don't know what to do with them. So they take them to Eleanor West's home for peculiar children, where they can be with other kids who've gone through the same experiences. And the first one is also like a murder mystery novel, like at a boarding school. So like it's got that going for it. But yeah, so I tend to really like these stories, but they all tend to be like a 4-star, except for one of them, which was a 3.5 because of like, there's this one character that is introduced in that book and is in this book as well that is slightly overweight and continually will talk about herself as being fat and overweight and projecting these fat-phobic comments, thinking that's what other people are saying. And in that other book there was like fat-phobic character, and it just like, I don't feel like I'm usually like triggered by those kinds of things, but I was. So I just don't like it. Like, it literally makes me uncomfortable reading and I like cringe. So I don't love that about the series, which is why these books never score really high. But I did end up giving this a 4-star. I thought it was a great, intense, crazy conclusion. I think this is the last book in the series, but I'm not completely sure. I did check on Goodreads and didn't see anything else listed. But yeah, these are definitely good, and they're quick reads. They're like, this one's like 200 pages. Like, the first one I read in like one sitting, so they're definitely quick and easy, short reads if you want to get your Goodreads goal up and stuff, and they're good. Like, they're good. So yeah, it's just that one character that sort of like triggers me, which is like a personal thing, so do what you want. This is very gruesome though, just saying. This last one, oh, I had to put the book down a few times. So those were the 10 books that I read in January. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did, and tell me your favorite book that you read in January in the comments below. I'll see you guys in another video soon. Bye!